you can go into the market every day thinking, here's what's going to happen today, or here's what I think. Get yourself accustomed with the news that are happening around the world, not just in the US, but also around the world, what is happening.
Mhm.
Whatever you're ticking across, whether you trade, the Qs or S&P or gold, Bitcoin, anything that you're trading, you've got, first of all, you need to know what's going on in the world.
Right.
That's the key, right? You wake up in the
Mhm.
morning, and if you don't know what's going on in the world, you're probably not going to be successful. Understand what is happening in the world economics, understand what events are happening today or during the week that could possibly set the tone for the entire week, right? And
Right.
then understand the seasonality. September is usually very bearish, one of the toughest months to trade, right, Gene, as you said earlier. But when you go through that, when you understand, when you go through the series of events, here's what is happening. And then when you start trading, that's when you probably know, because historically and in your mind, your base is set, your foundation is
Mhm.
set. And then what comes the most handy to me are my charts. When I look at my charts, when I look at my indicators, what they're telling me, and everything's falling into place, what direction you've got to go to. You either go long, you either go short, but you've got to take help from, and the indicators are there to help you. These
Right.
news or whatever's happening in the market, that's there to help you. There's sort of confirmation on executing a trade. That's
Right.
exactly what it is.
What components actually come into play when you actually execute a trade?
Absolutely, great point, Gates. And we talked about this, right? So when I look at the broader picture, I didn't take the trades on this account at all since morning, right?
Mhm.
Since 9:30
Right.
happened, I haven't taken a trade. And one thing to know is I never trade at 9:30. In between 9:30 to 10, I never trade.
Mhm.
Most people trade during that time, but I can tell you, I never trade during those times because the volatility is absolutely at its peak, and you
Right.
can go bust in 30 seconds. And I would rather not do that. So, well, you'll be hopeful or wishful thinking like, oh, I'm gonna go long and I'm gonna make my 500 bucks. Boom, you're out and your account's busted right there. No,
Right.
right? So let there be a trend. Let there be a trend set up, right?
Mhm.
So knowing coming into this Monday morning, Friday, you need to know what happened Friday. And first thing that happened Friday night was we were very close. The Qs were making the all-time highs, right?
Right.
And so when I opened this morning, we kind of dipped, then we were up, whatever not. But as I looked at it, first of all, the Qs were trying to break this resistance in the morning.
Mhm.
That's what they were trying to do. And once the resistance was broken, I they had to find the next resistance. And as I kept going further up, this is where I drew my line. I say, look at that. I have a feel like there's a channel being set up here, right?
Right.
That's exactly what I felt. So Gates, when we talked was, look, I did tell you this is where we are gonna short. And look, a couple of minutes later, we do see a couple of red candles, right? So
Mhm.
personally speaking, when I look at the broader picture, this is exactly where I would have gone short here because that's where I draw my trend line.
Sure.
Identify the trend. That's the biggest thing you've got to do. I draw my
Mhm.
trend line. I found my trigger point. This is what my trigger point was.
Mhm.
And then at that level at 939.75, I would have gone to my left chart here on the MQs and say, okay, what's my RSI saying? What's my moving averages saying? What is my
Mhm.
MACDs or those saying? And you look here, this is exactly why the divergence happened, right? It gave me an
Mhm.
indicator where RSI was going to turn it. It was overbought at this level,
Right.
right? Same thing. It was overbought at level here. And
Mhm.
so if I were to have executed, I would have gone short here, this yellow. I would have exactly gone short here and taken my profit. Pretty much it.
Now, when everything sort of lines up for you, is like the one down candle that trigger that puts you in?
Yep. So what I tend to do is I never go at the candle where get my alert, right? So I put my
Mhm.
alert. If you see the red bubble here, that's
Mhm.
sort of giving me an alert saying time to go short, right? I have
Right.
that setup done in my NQs for and trading view, which you can set it up whatever triggers. It gives me a trigger. By the way, if you
Mhm.
don't have the phone, it gives you alert on your phone as well, so you
Yeah.
would know. So okay, I'm time to go short because you're in the middle of your work. You're doing a lot more things. You're multitasking. If you
Right.
get an alert, this is where you got to go short. Do not execute at the same time, right? That's a recipe for disaster because the market can
Sure.
pull back right away. Wait
Mhm.
for the candle to close, go at the next candle. So if I received an alert at this time, which is what I did,
Mhm.
I would have waited for this candle to close, which is a 908.5, waited for
Mhm.
the next candle to enter, which is 916 here. That's what I would have entered. And
Mhm.
as of now, it's a 10-point drop. If you're trading NQs, or that's about 200 bucks right there. If
Yeah.
you're trading MNQs, depending on how many volume you trade, it's
Sure.
pretty straightforward, right? So, and then I would take profit at whatever I want to take profit. I'd keep my stop loss right above that level before that candle. So,
Mhm.
and just so I don't lose as much, but I I just make sure that I make enough money.